Hi everybody, Scott Nell here with the Scott Nell team. I'm here with Peggy Jarvel, who is an attorney. Her specialty is family law, custody, divorce, division of property, that kind of thing. And she's fantastic. Our topic today is, should I stay in the house during the divorce? So tell us what we need to think about, or if someone's getting a divorce, what do they need to think about if they decide they want to stay in the house?
Well, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
The person comes in and she's, let's say the mom, and the kids are in the house with her because dad has moved out. And during this time, she needs spousal support and child support because he makes more than she does. So he's now paying her some amount of support. She's in the house and she says, well, who's going to pay the mortgage? I can't afford the mortgage. Well, typically the court will not order both child support, spousal support, and that he paid the mortgage. Again, nothing's black and white in divorce, so depending on how much money he earns, there could be a variation on what I'm saying. But the norm is the one who's in the house, more times than not, will pay the mortgage. So now the person is paying the mortgage. Although it is still a community debt, that means he still owes half of it.
Right.
But the determination won't be until the divorce is almost over, the time of trial, or they reach an agreement, how that community debt will be handled. Why am I taking so long describing this? Because what's the next problem? What would the house rent for? So I may give Scott a call and say, hey Scott, you're familiar with this neighborhood, right?
Yes.
Oh yes I am, it's here in the valley. What do you think this house would generate for rent? Hypothetically, Scott calls and says, gee Peggy, after seeing this great house here in Encino, it could probably rent for $7 or $8 a month. And the mortgage is only $2,000 a month. And the property taxes average about $1,000 a month, and those are all community debts.
Right.
Well, the person in the house may now owe the community, which is half wife and half husband, the differential between what the house could rent for and the mortgage and property taxes. And then there's also, you would take into account routine maintenance, which the person in the house would be obligated to take care of, because the person in the house is supposed to keep the house in good condition.
Right. So you're talking about this is actually during the divorce, before it's even finalized.
Correct.
So that ends up getting factored in at the end. That gets factored in. So if the mortgage is $2,000, and let's say you have $500 a month for taxes, and so everything, the net comes to $3,000, but we think it can rent for $6,000. The rest is leftover is $3,000, and it has to be divided up.
Right. So you would look at it like this: 3 times 12 is 36,000.
Right.
And that means wife owes the community 36,000. Wife is half of the community. So that would mean wife under that circumstance would owe husband $18,000. Now, this area of the law under fair market rental value is under a certain case, and the court does have discretion, which means a judge can say, you know what, I know wife owes the community this amount, but given the fact that husband's worth mega bucks and he has all these other claims, I may not make her pay the community that, but still it's something she's faced with and she needs to know if she wants to stay in the house for the course of the divorce. And how long can that horrible divorce be? Well, it depends how much they fight. So if it could take a year or 2 years and she doesn't want to make any significant changes, then she'll be in the house during that time. What happens if she moves into an apartment and the house is vacant? They're both 50% liable for the costs of the house. The problem is, you cannot force a house to be sold unless there's some exigent/emergency circumstance before the time of trial or a complete settlement.
Right. So that has to, but they could do it if they both agree to it, though.
Correct.
And what determines how? Let's say they are disagreeing on market rent. Then how is that determined?
You bring in an expert. You could bring in a realtor. Most people will bring in an appraiser, and then we'll fight about the two appraisers and why they have different values, and then you'll bring in the realtor who has a third value.
Right, and then it kind of averages out?
It could, or it depends how antagonistic the people are and how litigious they are, whether you'll go to trial on this. More cases settle than go to trial, even though they don't settle until you're almost at or near the date of trial.
Right.
If people were really prudent and smart, they would never spend the money on attorneys and appraisers and accountants on a lot of these things. They would find a way to work it out. Unfortunately, the emotions are so high at the beginning stages, more times than not, that causes the delay and the cost.
Right, right. That's great information. Thank you so much. We appreciate having you here.
You're very welcome, Mr. Nell.
All right. Hey everyone, if you'd like more information about myself or my amazing team, check out scottnellteam.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.